Hi, in this demo we're going to be doing a concept drawing of the Ninja Bunny's arch enemy, uh, Sumo Bunny. And you can see from a group of silhouettes that we did, um, we've chosen this one shape to modify. And now we'll go in. I'm going to select inverse. I like this shape, but I think it could use a bit more attitude. So we're going to adjust his posture a little bit. I'd like him to be a little bit bigger and more menacing. Um, and I'd like to weight his foot. But you can see how this gave us a really nice start. It just, that's all it was as a start. And that's why it doesn't matter. So it was so rough, because now we can go back in and fix it up. So just really kind of rough here. I'd like him much bigger tummy. I'd like this to come down. Have him pivoting on that one foot. And there you can see I'm using a very light brush here. I can go a little denser than that. Um, just to kind of rough it in. And now from here, once I was happy with the posture, I could grab a black brush, bring that up a little bit. 79, that's not bad. And then give myself a smaller brush. You can see here I'm going to go to about let's see. Oh, that's not, I want to go a little bigger than that. I also want to zoom in a little bit. So erase that line. And then we just start outlining what we have here. Oops. Um, and of course, we need to put it on a new layer. Go edit step backwards, because in Adobe you can never make more than one mistake. Um, all right, so then as you can see, you just start kind of rough sketching in your character and giving it a little more definition. You see I'm just very quickly kind of going over here. This will all be refined again, but this is your, your first step. It's just going around very quickly and defining some of the shapes. It helps if you have some knowledge of what the character looks like ahead of time, because now I've drawn this a few times. I know pretty much how it sits. Okay, so this shape here is his belt. And then this is his tail, little shoes. Almost there. Maybe some teeth. Now I'm going to skip way ahead because I've spent some time already drawing this. So I'm going to skip to a more finished version of this image. So now we're going to add some tonality to him, and the first step for doing that is to select the inside. So I do that. I've made a closed drawing here. If you don't have a closed drawing here, your magic wand selection tool will grab parts of the inside. So I went around and was pretty careful to close up any gaps in it so that I can select this as a whole. Then I'm going to select inverse, and I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm going to set that new layer to multiply, and then I'm going to choose a darker color than the background, somewhere in the medium gray range, such as that, and fill that hole like that. and I want a little bit lighter color. I'll try that. About even lighter. Lighter. And you just keep working this until you're somewhere good. There we go. Nice, kind of just over medium gray. And now I want to also call out some of the obvious highlight parts of this, like his suit. And I'm going to do that just with the brush tool, where I select a color and then a slightly larger brush. Go in. And you can see I'm still not at 100% flow. But I'm not doing any highlights or shading yet. So I'm going to try and keep it all one. I guess I could set it to 100. But I know down the road I'll be doing shading. So it's hard for me to skip back to that step. All right. So let's, his knee pads and his nose. And that's looking pretty good. So that would be our first tonal step. Our second step here, and we'll create another layer, it'd be to add shadow. So now we will select a slightly darker color than that. You can actually go really dark if you want. And then I'm going to select a softer brush and make it quite a bit larger. And just go in and really heavy, make it really heavy-handedly define the bigger shapes, darker shadow. So we have the sun is coming from up here, so all this will be in darkness, more or less. These are your shadows. And you can see that's just the first sort of large step for doing the shadows. And I can shrink my brush and get in here a little more detail. Head casting shadow there, the hand. Sometimes you can use shadow just to define volume. Like this probably wouldn't be an actual shadow, but it helps define, helps push this back and pull this forward. As well as, say, the inside of the ear here probably wouldn't have that much shadow, but it really helps define the shape and volume. All right, with that going on, we're going to switch to a lighter color now and come in and do a highlight pass. And you'll notice I created another layer for the highlight pass. So highlights are a little different than shadow. You don't want to go in super strong. Although we can, remember, always adjust the volume, the opacity of these. If it's too light, we can always bring it back down. But since we're working all on the same layer, we have to do it globally. We can't do it on an individual. So like say if that's too bright but this is fine and I want to lower this, it all has to go. But we can come in and erase a little bit. And we can mess with our opacity here if it's building too much. And then we could build it a little slower. There's his head, arm. Okay. So I'm just going to keep working this, selecting different bits from inside the image to kind of then work this to a more gradated, a softer sort of blend rather than a harsher one. You can go either way. with an illustration. Just my particular style is a little more airbrushy, a little less painterly. And we'll keep working this. Okay, I'm through the magic of television going to skip ahead and show you what my final work thing done, because I can go back and forth with this for a long time. Okay, so after loads of back and forth and working with the tones, I've come up with this image that I'm kind of happy. I've also gone in with a little bit of black and darkened the lines a little bit. I've also taken the shadow and highlight layer and made it a multiply layer so that the black lines from a previous layer are shown through. And I've collected them all in yet another layer here so as that I don't overwrite any of that work. So I basically duplicated these two layers here and created and flattened it down to a third one, and now I'll create another layer on top of that so that we can add the color. You can do color in a few different ways. Probably the easiest one is to just fill it and then make it a multiply. And then all of a sudden, all your highlights, all that work you did in gray has nice tonality to it. And you can adjust the opacity to that if that's too bright. Image, adjust hue saturation. And I can adjust the saturation of it if I'd like it to be more green or yellow or orange or red or purple or more of a bluish kind of minty green. I can adjust the lightness of it. As you can see, the darker you go, the better the saturation is. That's cool. It looks like he's under a green light. We're going to net out somewhere around here. And as you can see, all that tone work we did, now we have various colors of green, and we don't have to go in here and paint this a darker green to make the shadow. We've already done that in the gray. By putting the green over it, you have this already built-in working map. What we do have to do is create the color for the belt. Now we can do that on the same green layer here. I'm going to select a purple color. And I'm going to increase everything up to 100%. And I'm going to give myself a hard brush. And I'm going to reduce it a little bit. And you can see that the tones we generated before are now working for us quite well, where they are giving the object nice shadow and highlight, and all we have to do is stay within the lines a little bit, and you can see it is quite effective as far as coloring that in. That's I forgot about his nose. This is pretty far along as far as a concept drawing. There's various degrees of concept drawings, by the way. You can do a concept drawing that's super finished, or if you're just looking for to get the idea across, you might want to do something a little bit looser. Show this to the art director and say, hey, what do you think? And this would be enough to do that. It's like, what do you think of this character? Should we make it a 3D model for our game? And he would be able to tell from this enough. Is like, or he might send you back and say, hey, can you refine this and this and this and this. And then for finishing touches, we can go in and hit some of the highlights on top. Like we know the lights coming from over there. So if we really want these to pop, we can come in with this other color, which is just a light pink, and kind of hit some of these points here. And get it to go. And this is pretty far along in the concept. I mean, you could obviously keep going on this for quite a while, but I think for our purposes of just getting our feet wet doing a concept drawing, if you follow these steps, you'll get it'll take you pretty far down the road. Okay, the last little part here that we're going to do is to put the character in a background area and kind of mesh him with the background. Now, we've pre-selected a photograph and modified it to have the staircases as it appears in the storyboards, and just to kind of tie it all together. So let's pretend we did the concept after the storyboards and we had this to look at, or the other way around, like we got this from the concept drawing. So what we're going to do now is duplicate one of the layers that has all of him. We're going to create a shadow for this guy, and instead of trying to draw a shadow, we're going to do it the easy way by duplicating one of the layers, which would be we do the color layer or the black and white layer. It doesn't really matter. You just go duplicate layer, and then we need to take this layer, and I'm going to offset it so you can see what I'm doing. You can see how with multiply on it kind of went really dark. Okay, so there's our color layer. Oops, might have to get rid of that. And we're going to go image adjust, brightness, contrast. And we're going to make this whole thing black. I use the legacy. Turn down the brightness. Turn up the contrast. Hit OK. And we're going to have to draw over these little bits here. All right, oh, it's the multiply layer. That's what's happening. All right, we'll go like this. Make this on the very top layer. All right, now we're good. So we're going to take this layer, and now we're going to go edit, transform, distort. And you can see these boxes here, and we're going to take them, and we're going to take these handles, and we're basically flipping the image. There we go. Back here. Usually have a little more room to work with. We seem to be a little short on space with this recording format. We'll make it work. Okay. And then we're going to take his shadow and line it up with his feet. I know there's hardly any of his shadow left. That's okay. And we're going to drop that down to below all the layers. And we're going to lighten it up. And we're going to erase all this weirdness that was on the edges. And now you have your bunny in a landscape. And if you really wanted to be a little more accurate, you could cut this shadow here off at the step, or just transform it You go to transform, distort, because its angle would be different at that step. So you can go like this. So it's a normal shadow till there, and then this shadow till there. Hit enter, and then it looks more like it was on a real step, and we can even lessen it up, lessen the shadow a little bit. And then I'll do a view, fit on the screen so you can see it all. And there is our final concept drawing. Well, as final as we're going to take it right now. I hope you enjoyed the lesson.